Patch 4.5 brought us both the Volkite Pistol, as well as some pretty significant buffs to the Bolt Carbine. Rather than milk each of those out into their own 8-minute long video, let's just do both at the same time. After grinding my face off in some Lethal Inferno runs, got both up to Relic, and I got a couple different builds for you. And a little bit uncharacteristically, perhaps, I'm going to separate things out into console and PC specific advice. The PC specific advice will be towards the end of the video. Getting into it with the Neo Volkite. Off the top here, wow, this thing is ammo hungry. Almost right up there with the plasma pistol if you're only going to be using charge shots, at least in terms of overall ammo expenditure to effective impact on combat. Honestly, the damage against everything that's not a terminus enemy is kind of underwhelming. Regardless of what build I tried with it, you're always looking at between 2 and 3 explosions to bring a Tyranid warrior, at least, to an executable state on lethal. Overall, it's not great at regaining contested health. That hurts a lot on the assault in specific. Similarly, on the assault, it seems as though it does less gun strike damage than, for instance, the heavy bolt pistol. Need to do a little bit more testing on that, so let me know if you're experiencing similar down in the comments. Getting into the build here, we're going to take the one that does the 6+ firepower. Obviously, the stats in-game are ostensibly useless. However, at least I haven't seen any data mining information on this pistol yet, so we got to make do with what we got. Looking at perks, this is the last build that I've been trying to make work. I'm still of mixed mind. This one trades a little bit of extra damage for some utility in terms of instantly reloading after a gun strike, extra ammo, and things like that. Honestly, I'm not super sold on this build. Realistically, this makes it so that you have, again, a little bit more utility, and you're going to be going for those gun strikes, which do proc the AoE, which is nice. So a little bit of supplementary AoE could be particularly nasty on the Bulwark, especially if you take the perk that gives you an AoE every time you parry. That said, between the other more standard builds, the top line here really felt kind of underwhelming when contrasted with just going along the straight bottom line. Unfortunately, if you do go down the bottom line, you will miss out on the 10% damage to terminus enemies, which arguably is what this weapon is designed to gap fill for the classes that can use it. If you look at it as the Vanguard, the Assault, and the Sniper can take it, well, the Vanguard and the Assault, at least, tend to have a harder time dealing with terminus enemies, unless you want to get up in things' faces and be a parry god. So outside of that, I would recommend going with the bottom build. If you want to tinker with that other more utility, more terminus-focused build, let me know what your thoughts are there. And moving on to the Bolt Carbine. So the buff that the Carbine got was a 50% increase to damage when the enemies are within 10 meters, which is significant. So to that end, you're going to stick with one of these first two, since, obviously if you're going to be close to things, you don't really need something with a scope. I'm a fan of the one that has the extra accuracy, which, even though you're supposed to be barrel stuffing with this, the spread on this weapon is gnarly. Plus, occasionally if you find yourself hip firing, the extra accuracy will be nice. Moving on to perks. This is about the best I can come up with. Looking at the individual perks here, we've got maximum spread reduction, more maximum spread reduction after a perfect dodge. Cool when it happens. Sacrificial point to move up the tree. Moving on, we have a little bit of sustain if you're below 30% health if you kill 10 things in quick succession. That's a heavy lift, but nice when it happens. Headshot damage, more headshot damage. Even more headshot damage when you're hurting. Additional sacrificial point to get up to this one. This might be a little bit controversial, but even with the talent perk on the sniper that increases the reload time, I can't be asked to constantly reload cancel. So having something that will automatically reload the carbine after a gun strike is just quality of life. If you want to go full try-hard mode and reload cancel all the time, you can pick up the maximum spread reduction or the 25% recoil reduction. Coming back over here, we picked up the extra mag size, as well as a flat 10% damage boost. Now, in terms of pairing this with the sniper at least, since realistically the tactical has better options, go ahead and pick up dexterous hands for the 15% extra reload, and you're going to be running your standard overall headshots into recharging your ultimate, into extra damage when you break cloak, and staying in cloak for 2 seconds. And this plays exactly like the other sniper builds I've posted before. Only difference here is you're up in things' faces. And honestly, if you're able to dip in and out of cloak, the damage is pretty substantial. The problem I have here with this approach to it is you have no sustain, and you're going to be going through ammo really quick. So if I want to be up in things' faces, I'm just going to play Vanguard, because then you have the option for good single target, good wave clear, good mobility, and sustain in the form of Adrenaline Rush. This, while an entertaining diversion from the sniper's usual playstyle, kind of feels like trying to sand down the edges of a square peg so it can fit into a round hole. But as you can see from the footage here, it is substantial damage. So yeah, if you can be on top of your ammo management and you have teammates who are also contributing to wave clear, yeah, this is viable. Now, coming back to what I was saying earlier about having different suggestions for console versus PC. If you're on console, the entirety of the video applied to you up until now. If you're on PC, you have two options: the entirety of the video as it exists up until now, or take a second to think about why it is you're looking at all these buffs and trying to get different loadouts. Because you're sick of using the same thing, you want to see more variety, and you want more things to be viable. Yeah, absolutely. I'm in the same boat. There is a solution for that. Install the Astartes Operations Overhaul mod, and then everything is viable. Now, I'm going to have a more detailed video on that out in the next few days. I'm shooting for by the end of the week. We'll see how that goes. But really, that one solution addresses all of the concerns that people might be clamoring about on Reddit or YouTube, or I know I've certainly seen it in the comment section here. Everything is viable. Yes, even the auto bolt rifle. Give it a look. Link will be in the description. I've been Bald Squid. I'll see you next time.